Good afternoon, everyone. It's like there's an expectant hush has fallen on the room and we haven't done anything at all. That's really good. Thank you very much for coming along. This is the official Social Media Week London Hub, sponsored by Google+. Thank you for coming along. We should probably point out that this session may be not safe for work. So if you are easily offended, although I've no idea what's prepared, so I'm just suggesting you brace yourselves possibly. And if you're on the live stream as well, that you might want to turn the volume down in case some of the language gets fruity. I'm not expecting it to get very fruity, but you don't know. As usual, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Sam Michelle from Chinwag. We're the lead organisers of Social Media Week London. And if you've been at any events this week, which I've introduced, I will have done exactly that. I can't seem to remember my own name. Something to do with organising all this stuff, probably. So some administration points. There is Wi-Fi in here. Should be right. The 3 access points and the password, Design 1, Design 2, Design 3, and the password is Forum 2011 in lowercase. The hashtag is #SMWSexLove. You can guess why we put the words in that order. There we go. If you're like me, you've got sausage fingers and a small phone, then it's fine to use SMWLDN as a shortened version of it. So this is a really good panel. I'm really excited about this one. And it's going to be even better if you guys get involved. So don't be shy. Really don't be. It's a very friendly crowd. It's really cool. And I'm going to shut up and hand over to the very glamorous Mel to introduce the panel. Mel.
Thank you. So my name's Mel Kirk. I'm head of blogger engagement at Jam, but I've also had a video blog for 6 years at randommail.com. Which was why I thought it was some kind of sick joke when I was invited to chair the panel, given that I've spent 6 years doing dating awfully. So it's going to be a really, really informal panel. We'll be taking Q&As and having a group chat come the end. But if you have any questions, then obviously feel free to get involved. I've got the lovely Emily and Kate with me. Kate's going to be first out doing the presentation about dating. So, yeah, as technical as it gets. But yeah, by all means, if you have any questions, then feel free to ask. So I'm going to hand you over to Kate, who comes equipped with hummingbird cupcakes.
I'm going to hand this to you. I'm going to do it from there. So you might keep that in case somebody has a question or participate. Right. So hi, I'm Kate. Can everyone hear me okay? Great. I did bring cupcakes because I'm hoping at some point I can get some of your stories in exchange for mine. And so I brought you incentives. So today I'm going to kind of go through a few things, and I'm going to just go ahead and say it. I am your case study, so here I am. But we're going to go through Googling, your pictures, PDA, and if people, maybe that's a very American thing, public displays of affection or your online displays of affection, some stats, because everyone in here seems to like stats, and some do's and don'ts. So here we kick off. I am your case study for half my life now. I've been online, and having seen who's in this room, I saw that there are some students, which means you guys are probably 4 when I'm talking about half my life was online. So starting from 96, I'm going to take you through a little bit of my own personal journey. So what you're seeing up here is not when these platforms were first available. They're when I first kind of came to my knowledge of them. So in 1996, I got my first email address, and it was, as you would expect from like You've Got Mail. It was an America Online, one where it was dial-up. You heard the little, modem running and everything. And I ran up about a $200 phone bill because I didn't realize that it wasn't a local number that I was dialing into. And so my parents were very upset with me. But it's how I communicated with my, at the time, the boy I thought I was in love with, and he was in Australia. So anyway, email. Yay, go Aussies. So email was up first. And then off to college I went. And my second year of university, I got into using ICQ. I bet a lot of you in here don't even know what ICQ is. So I'm seeing it's not. Okay, awesome. I'm just going to go ahead and throw some things out there. So the first cupcake is going to go to, does anyone know what ASL means? I don't care. So Mel's got the cupcakes and she's got it. So I don't care. Whoever wants it. Yep, choose it. Actually, wait, here we'll make it harder. Who under 25 knows what ASL means? Oh! All right, go for the guy there. What?
What is it?
Yes, go. Okay, cupcake to you. Unfortunately, that might have been how a lot of those ICQ chats started. ASL. Yay! I'm 19. I am a female, and I'm in Arkansas. Where are you? And then from there, as I was going through this particular conversation and kind of running down with my colleague last night, he said, you cybered, didn't you? And I was like, what? You cybered? You know, sticky keyboards. And I went, I don't know what you're talking about, but maybe you do know what I'm talking about. Anyway, and then it was kind of like the early versions of chat roulette where, because you didn't have pictures and you didn't have names, and so what do you look like? And it was usually a picture of somebody's penis. So that was my entry into chatting with people online, and, you know, hey. Okay, so in 99, I don't actually have a marker for 99 because this was kind of an afterthought, but I had just moved in with my gay best friend. My best friend, who then came out to me that summer to let me know he was gay. And I learned all about gay.com and how guys would meet each other or talk online and then meet up. Because back then, again, not a lot of people were out. There wasn't a lot of space to go and meet people, especially, again, I'm in Arkansas, which, if no one knows where Arkansas is, it's in the South. It is in the Bible Belt. And yes, my accent might come out a bit because I'm nervous. And yeah, so it was the first time I'd realized that, like, guys were online chatting with each other and, like, arranging these meetups. And I had never met anyone face-to-face, which brings us to 2000. I was moving to Oxford to do part of my undergrad. And so, again, through ICQ, I looked for people who had actually Oxford as their location, and I thought, okay, well, I'm going to talk to somebody, and then ended up meeting up with a student at Jesus College. So it was my first face-to-face, and I went, okay, this was okay. He wasn't crazy. He's not a serial killer. We met up at, like, was it Yates type pub? Anyway, and it was fine. So that was the first time I went, okay, it's okay to do this whole, like, online, offline thing. And then just kind of quickly progressing through. So there's Match.com, my first online dating experience right after I got out of college. A lot of people do this when they first move to a new town. I was moving to a new town, didn't know anyone, wanted a date. Did that, again, online, offline. Some good, some bad, but, you know, whatever. MySpace in 2005, I'm living in Australia during the time, when somebody says, you're lonely, connect to people online, you can get to know your friends, or get to see your, catch up with friends back at home, but it's also a great way to date. And I hadn't thought about using it like that, but it worked out too. So MySpace, a great place to date. Maybe that's what they should come back as. And then Facebook was, again, I didn't have a university email or whatever, so by the time I got into Facebook, it really was about meeting or just reconnecting. I've never gone and used Facebook as a dating platform. I bet somebody probably has in here, but it wasn't me. In 08 is when I started using Twitter, and then basically was using that to find a job. And again, doing more of the social networking thing. iPhone, my first iPhone in 2009, I finally got a smartphone that wasn't just something that was like for text and phone calls. I got that, and it was real time, and it was like, oh, this is amazing, I can connect to people all the time, this is great. And then again, was doing all this social networking here in London and felt, wow, I'm meeting a lot of people, I'm getting asked out on a lot of dates. This is kind of weird. And again, it was all through Twitter, because it was these tweet ups. And then again, more online dating, because I think it's fun. So one little random aside, so again, talking about these things with my colleague last night, he said, I met my girlfriend doing online dating, and she was really, really panicked because at the end of our first date, I didn't give her my phone number, and I thought, you know what, we're both community managers, we're both online, we had each other's Twitter and all this information, and I kind of started thinking about it. It's like, we all are so online that maybe, we don't have to call anyone anymore. Seemed kind of strange, but kind of a fun talk, or a fun chat from him. So, I know I'm talking really fast, sorry. Googling, and maybe I'm the only person who sees the word ogling and Googling and made that connection, but basically, search, is it good or bad? And I think that's something we'll probably talk about a little bit on the panel, but who in here is single? Because I Okay? Who in here has met somebody, gone on a date or networked with them, and gone home and Googled that person? Have the results ever bothered you? Does it bother you more if you can't find anything about them? Right. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's become kind of this normal thing that I prefer to date outside of our industry, mostly because we are doing this stuff all the time. We're at meetups or conferences, and it's like I don't want to see you all the time online. I need somebody kind of far away from it. Although what's funny about that is like the people I am then Googling probably aren't all over the place, except for that one guy who did have a girlfriend, according to his Facebook, and we didn't talk again after that one. But yeah, so. This also brings another thing of, because we're so connected, especially those of us in this space, that there's the crazy girl. And I'm not saying that's me. I'm just saying there are crazy girls out there. And when somebody is ignoring you and they feel like, oh my God, I got to go check his Facebook. Is anyone, I got to check his Foursquare. Where did he check in last? Is he tweeting? Who's he talking to? Oh my God, some other girl left a message on his wall. This is when you start freaking out and you go into the cyber stalker mode. And it's just not cool. It's not pretty, but it happened. And I can ask, has anyone ever done that? Okay, so which brings me to another point about, because we're putting so much information out there, there's a good story from ProBlogger, Darren Rouse, who said, I get down from having this talk, and this like super fan comes out, and she's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, and she's like hugging him, and he's like, well, who are you, what are you doing, like, why are you touching me? And then she all of a sudden realizes, like, whoa, I've invaded his personal space, and that's when she goes, I feel like I know you. And so again, it's one of these, this whole social media sex love thing. It's like, we are putting all this information out here. And this is actually a list from his page about basically, these are all the things that he does. And I bet you a lot of us can tick a lot of these boxes and say that's true of us as well. And that all of a sudden, people out there we've never met feel like they know us. I know I had like a little bit of an identity crisis around this, where I would show up to things and people like, oh my God, you're Kate Matlock, like the Kate Matlock. And I'm like, yeah, hi, don't really get it. But they felt like they knew me because I follow you on Twitter. My favorite line, I follow you on Twitter, you unfollowed me or you don't follow me, which also, anyway. But yeah, and it makes you feel like people are having relationships with you that you're not having with them, or maybe you are, who knows. So kind of why I was also here today was I'm kind of recapping or summarizing some of my master's research, which was about how trust can be formed in the online, offline spaces. And I was talking more about curation of digital narratives and could you design this like perfect profile for trust? And so part of it was about photographs and how we are using ourselves or the visual representations of ourselves also in this space. So are you guys familiar with like the OK Trends blog? Because I'm going to refer to it a couple times here. So yeah, it's actually quite good. I mean, some of the stats are old, but you know what? I still love them. And but one of the things said, for girls, the MySpace photo still really works, like that one. And it's not about the cleavage, actually. It's just this seems to be a very flattering angle. And it also says, guys, please keep your shirts on. I agree. So anyway, but I also think this is interesting, again, because we're working in this space where it's, yeah, some of it's business relationships and some of it's, the personal relationships. It all kind of gets blurred after a while about, like, when we're online. But I find it interesting that back in the day when you would have your resume or your CV, you didn't submit a photo with it. That was very much a no-no because people shouldn't judge you on what you look like. But now, like, LinkedIn, for example, allows you to put your photo in. And it's interesting if you look at those photos, how people represent themselves. Is it professional? Is it a little personal snapshot? So more of just a commentary on that. It's not really a point, but just I think it's interesting that how much looks in our photos do actually play a part in that. And I am going to play a video for you guys. Are you guys familiar with The Guild? Okay, it's a webisode about a bunch of gamers, and I'm not going to play the whole thing, but oops, hello. See if I can get it to go. Red, how do I get it to play again? when technology fails, or when I fail. Which one? Here it is. Thank you.
Do you wanna date my avatar? Do you wanna date my avatar?
She's a star. Do you want to date my avatar? She's hotter than reality by far. Which, again, like when you think about like the progression of where we are using real photos versus the avatars and the stand-ins, like who knew what you were talking to back then? And not to say that people still don't do it, but I don't know. I prefer when I'm looking at Twitter and things like that. What'd you say? Oh. No, that's just the freeze frame. Yeah, just a screen grab. But I'd prefer to know what the person looks like on Twitter. So some people who have something else standing in, it's like I get to a networking event or whatever, and I have no idea who I'm talking to or what they look like. So something about, like, again, for me, I want to know what I'm getting myself into, I guess, sort of. And for some of you might actually know Lewis Webb. Hi, Lewis Webb. And he... this is someone once told me, it's a blog about, a photo blog obviously, about things that people have told you. And his whole story is like, you know, here I am, I work in the online space and I'm doing these meetups and things, but no one ever seems to really know who I am by my picture. And I think this again goes back to the whole MySpace thing. Do you remember the t-shirts that would say like, you're cuter in your photos or you're cuter on MySpace? So anyway, I just think it's kind of funny. And I also think about, oh my God, looking at some of these people online who say they're 6'2" and they've got this beautiful head of hair, and really they show up and they're like 5 something. I don't want to say anything bad. And they're bald and they just don't look like their picture. Not that there's anything wrong with those. It's just when you don't look like your picture, I think it really ruins trust up front. And again, using a little bit of OK Trends because I do love them. This is just helpful. If you are actually looking for a date and you are using social media for this, and again, think about how your photo looks. And apparently, if you use the flash, it adds 7 years. And some of us are over the age of 30, and we just don't need 7 years added to us. Right. Here's another fun one. Who in here changes their relationship status on Facebook? Oh, you sad, sad people. I can't do it. I can't bear to look at it. But apparently a lot of people do it, and there's some stats for you. This is from, it's actually, well, I found it through Mashable just the other night. But even more fun was apparently they've listed the 10 songs for when people first get into a relationship and the 10 songs that people are playing when they are breaking up. And this is from, the whole Spotify connection thing. So I'm just going to give you the 3 top ones for when you're getting into a relationship. Don't Want to Go Home by Jason Derulo, which, by the way, I looked at this video today. It is terrible. It is horrible. Who are those people? Second one, Love on Top by Beyonce. The third one is How to Love by Lil Wayne. I don't know what this says about the demographic of people who are getting into a relationship. Maybe these are happy songs to them. I don't know. But anyway. As far as people who are ending a relationship, it is The Cave by Mumford & Sons, Crew Love by Drake, and he appeared, Drake's on there twice, and then All of the Lights by Kanye West. And I don't know those songs at all. Number 4, Rolling in the Deep by Adele. Okay, fine, got that one. But anyway, I've got cupcakes, like I said, so I need somebody to give me, like, a really, really good, or a couple people. Maybe we should make it a competition, I don't know. When you're entering a relationship, what is the, like, this is my jam, I'm a happy, happy person. I need some, and we can vote. Let's get one from this side. Anything, just shout it out at me. Favorite song, happy song, go. Again, what? Okay, fine, Twist and Shout. On this side? All right, who gets the cupcake? Left side or right side? Hall & Oates? All right, cupcake. Now, what is the I am going to slit my wrist because my relation. Oh, jeez. Okay. You know what? We just go ahead and roll. Go ahead and yell out a few. I don't care.
Everybody hugs REM.
Okay. 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 On the left side. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. All right. Who needs the cupcake the most? Okay. REM is getting the cupcake apparently. Okay. Woo, man. Okay. And because a lot of us do, again, come from this whole, biz, everyone likes stats. These are going to be the most heavy worded stats. It's just because it's really hard to say them, and if you guys like tweeting them, or as I see some pictures, some of these are really old stats, I have to admit, because again, my master's was during 2009. So we got Forrester research with 65% of young people use Facebook to look at the profiles of people they don't know. And again, maybe Facebook is a dating site. I think it is interesting, and people do like to crawl along other people's profiles. A whole lot of stuff about people who are using it to test faithfulness. If you're cheating, just keep it offline. Jeez, people. Yeah, a little more online dating stats. And, another big one. This is your RSCG put out a whole study on, what was it called? Love and Sex in the Age of Social Media. It's actually quite good. And I can share these slides after if people want it, but it has all the links on them and everything. But I'm just thinking, from these, when I look at, I don't know, I guess my overall thought is just things aren't as black and white anymore, where it just talks about, how, just technology just affecting everything and every part of us. So the more we're using it, the more, people are uncovering the unfaithfulness or looking for unfaithfulness, I think. Or maybe it's getting better. Who knows? I don't know. Everyone happy for me to move on from this slide? Yes? Awesome. Okay, infographic stuff, quick ones. So going back to, are people really breaking up with people by text? Because that's just terrible and tacky. But apparently, what? Ooh, I heard it. I know somebody who's done it story. You want to share with the class? Okay, share with the class. And the email said what? That's up. In front. Go for it.
And it is a friend of mine.
Okay.
Her boyfriend of a few months broke up with her by email and just said, "I don't think you're not able to give me what it is I need," via email. So
I don't know what he needs except for a kick in the butt.
I'm not even going to go there because my feelings are very apparent.
Do you need a cupcake to take home to your flatmate? I think you do.
think
I think
she
you need a
probably
cupcake to
needs
take
it.
your flatmate. Again, coming back to the crazy people, as soon as you meet that boy or that girl, do you go find them on Facebook and actually friend them? Because I don't, befriend them. I don't do that. I try to keep Facebook to myself, but apparently a lot of people like to do that. I'm glad to see that in-person asking people out for a date is still going on, but again, Facebook shows up. Come on, people, it's dating. Why hide behind your computer so much? And this last one, and over here, I think is actually quite interesting, because where it says, no, I didn't sign up for it because people, where is it? Because it seems wrong. People lie about who they are online. I think that is a fascinating reason for not doing it, because I'm kind of sitting here going, well, yeah, maybe they do, but the more you know, the less it seems like they can get away with. And yeah, I'll just let you look at that one. And there's a pub culture in this country that I don't understand, and maybe you guys drink too much. I don't know. Anyway, right, so we're getting toward the end. So I've got a couple little, rules on the whole don't be crazy thing. I actually asked a friend of mine who's very, very into, he has something on every platform basically, and he just said, if I go out, don't immediately go home and follow me on everything. And I know that seems to be what a lot of us do. Just maybe be selective. about where you're following them, and and then don't feel like you have to like every single photo once they've added you to Facebook, because wait, who's done it? Who's gone through all the photos and liked some photos? Because I've done it. I admit it. I've done everything, and I've done it all wrong, and some of it I've done right, but that's okay. That's why I'm here. Another stat for you: 64% of you leave lovey-dovey messages on your significant other's Facebook wall. Please, for the rest of us, spare us. Do it in private. But otherwise, go meet people offline. Talk to people offline. If you're afraid and you don't know how to start it, go and get into like a tweet up. And I put in Shortish Twit in there because I do help run it. But again, Lewis Webb's photo from earlier, Lewis helps run that too. And he said, a happy side effect of Shortish Twit is we have actually gotten couples together there. That's where they've met up. So go do that. Go get, face to face. And otherwise, just think about what you're sharing. And, I didn't finish the thought. Wow. That happens a lot sometimes. But anyway, give them a chance is basically, what'd you just say?
I said give them what exactly?
Exactly, a chance. Or fill in as you prefer. Anyway, that's me.
Thank you very much.
So what we're going to do now is start the panel where we'll be having a discussion. Emily can tell you a little bit about her experience in the field. I'm going to be tapping into it. How many singles are there again? Boys? No, sorry.
I still have 2 cupcakes left for good questions.
Cool, so we'll get started. Hello. Hi. Emily, if I can ask you to give us a little bit of background about yourself.
Okay, well, I have been writing about sex, love and relationships for coming up to 2 decades now. I first kind of got into it in a major way at university where I studied social psychology.
I wondered where that was going.
Yes, did my dissertation on whether women wanted their sexual fantasies to come true. Because I figured everybody gets boring about their dissertation, and so I may as well get boring about something my friends were interested in. Since then, I founded cliterati.co.uk in 2001 using a very early, what came to be known as a CMS, Geek Log, if any of you remember it. And it was one of those things that was set up kind of for a bit of a laugh with everybody kept on saying the internet was full of porn. And me and my mates couldn't find any, so we set up a text-based porn website for women where anybody could add a story, and we moderated them to make sure they were safe, sane, consensual, and generally didn't have some of the stuff I'd seen on other sites, which we'd all rejected. From then, went on to write the Lover's Guide scripts, found Scarlet magazine, and write 25 books about love, sex, and relationships. So basically, all of that stuff got fairly well covered, and have also done the online dating thing and got a fair few horror stories from it as well.
So where do you think the limit is, I guess, in terms of research? I know that we touched there on Googling. Where do you think the restrictions, do you think that it's almost gone too far, that we can find out too much about somebody before we go on a date now?
Yeah, I think one of the big things to bear in mind with dating, as with anything online, is don't do stuff online that you wouldn't do offline, because it makes you weird. If you wouldn't phone up your partner's or your date's mum immediately after your first date, it's probably not a good idea to go and check out their Facebook profile to see what the parental relationship's like. If you go off and Google somebody to within an inch of their life before you've Googled someone to within an inch of their life, it could well hamper the chances of things going further, because you'll have that awkward conversation where you mention something that you've read on their Facebook profile from 6 months ago, and they realise you've been stalking and suddenly realise that you're a little bit scary.
Or worse still, you find out that your mother is. We talked about the don'ts. My mum set up a Twitter account. She kindly called herself Random Mel's mum on Twitter, which went really well. When you start to have a few tweets with somebody and then they get a notification to tell them that your mum is now following them. It's not the best, and I'm still single. So In terms of social media and dating, I mean, so I've been on a date with somebody that I've met through Twitter before. Do you think there are benefits of doing that ahead of kind of dating sites?
I'd say one of the big disadvantages of dating websites is that one of the first things that the women's magazines will tell you is whatever you do, don't look desperate. Don't let people know you're available. And signing up to a website and paying $9.99 a month is kind of letting your availability out of the bag. Whereas with something like Twitter or Facebook or Pinterest or any of the myriad other sites out there, you can pretend that you're not actually looking to land a date whilst posting that picture of you drinking from a beer bottle in that particular way that 20-something girls seem to do. I don't know what it is, but for some reason it's impossible to drink from a glass when you're a 25-year-old hot girl. So people will construct their social profiles in a very dating-esque way, but it still looks less desperate, or so the theory goes, than signing up to an online dating site.
Kate, what are your thoughts?
I'm still recovering from the beer bottle. What was the question about Twitter, right?
Yeah,
Sorry.
so I was saying, do you think there are benefits to dating somebody through social media platforms as opposed to online dating?
Okay, so coming back to the Google thing, which is something I like about the Twitter side of it, is that I can go to that person's profile and I can see kind of what they're saying to other people. It's like you can kind of listen in on their conversation. You kind of get a feeling of, are they funny, are they flirty, are they smart, those kind of things. And I think because you're getting that personality and that real personality, not that kind of like, here is my dating CV, which seems very dry and very much like, I'm telling you why I'm so good. I'm telling you why I'm a good candidate, which I think you should just read dating profiles. They're great fun. But no, I think having Twitter makes them feel human. It makes them feel normal. It makes them look like they have friends and a job maybe. Which you don't get that other side from the online profiles or the online dating profile.
So you online date?
Oh yeah.
I online date. This is being live streamed. I should be careful.
Do-de-do.
It's not going there. Do you have? Because I'm really bad. I have my thing. So I won't ever wink. I won't email. I'm very, very lazy. I wait for someone to get in touch with me. Then if I like the look of them, I might wink back. Then they'll email. Then I'll respond. And we might have 2 emails. Then I ask whether they've got Facebook. Now you can see why I'm single. Yeah, and because I go onto Facebook to see whether they only have female friends, you can tell a lot about this. You can see their pictures. Then, when you're happy with that, you exchange numbers, and then you go out.
What I'm hearing actually is, and for the guys in the room, like obviously you've just heard, if you consider who your friends are on Facebook.
It's true. If you've
if a
only
girl's
got
gonna go
girls.
Google you, because that is, you know what? If guys go home, Google yourselves. If you're single, what are we gonna find about you, and then go clean it up? I think.
It's also worth checking yourself out on sites like thedicklist.com, because if you've done something big and bad, then it may well show up there. And there are an increasing amount of sites coming out that tell people all of the bad things. People can rate each other on a dating point of view. And
what's this site?
Well, there's the Dick List, which is male-specific, and includes really fun stories like, don't go out with this man, he stole my children and burnt down my house, and really hardcore stuff. And there's no way of validating it. So please, nobody out there who's a bit mental, go off and stitch up your exes or anything.
My God.
I needed to know about this site.
As I said, please, nobody who's a bit mental, go.
I was left on a street corner for him to go and meet a dealer.
Nice.
I'm not joking. It's unfortunate.
Could have been worse, he could have been the dealer.
True. Okay, so what do we think in terms of Facebook and cheating? It's been blamed for the breakup of God knows how many relationships. Do we think it's actually enabling, or it's just highlighting what was going on anyway?
Yeah, right.
Do you think it's wanting to be caught?
Surely, that's like blaming alcohol for cheating. People will
That's not an excuse?
It's like using... no, you can't get away with that. People will use any means. We've been getting it on with people since the dawn of time, and all we're doing is utilising the latest way of getting into somebody else's pants. 1 in 2 married people cheat. It's actually 51% of women and 50% of men. So basically, that's if you get married, there's a 50-50 chance. So something like Facebook isn't going to be increasing the odds. They're already there.
I'm wondering, have any of you seen the trend, and maybe again just because I'm from the Bible Belt, but that a lot of my married couple friends back in Arkansas have the Kate and Bob one. So they have this, so it'd be like, husband-wife account.
Baby vom.
Because I think the thing is with some of those, it's like, well, you know what? We have one email address. Everything comes into our home this way. We register our profile this way. It's our family. We're a couple. Whereas, the people that are keeping those separate ones, and I know a lot of people in here are going to say, you know what? I don't give my spouse or whoever, my passwords to my email. I don't give them a password to my Facebook. But it's this thing of, I think it's because it's the stuff we don't know that we feel that if they are hiding something from us. And I actually do know somebody very close to me who found out her husband was cheating on her this way because he left his Facebook signed in, and there were the messages, all the personal messages. It wasn't happening on a wall. There weren't photographs. There were messages. And, and that's how she found out. I mean, it could have been an email. It could have been something else. So anyway, I don't know if, good or bad, but you can understand why people are having those couple pages now, I think.
Then again, if you need to have a couple page in order to trust your partner, it might be worth looking at getting some relationship counselling.
And people who put babies as their profile picture.
Pets is where it gets to
No, that's fine. Cats are fine. They are the internet. Okay. So, I have a question. You're using social networks. You're using Twitter professionally. For example, my blog has got me most of the work that I'm kind of in today, so I use it professionally and socially. Where do the boundaries lie? Can you canvass a date on Twitter or your blog, or is that just desperate? I will be doing it and blaming you, so...
Well, yeah, we could do a bit of a social experiment and set up a little hashtag for you. If there's anybody who would be interested in dating either of these lovely ladies, I'm the attached one, these two are the single one, so I'm just going to pimp them.
I'm paying a fee.
Let's do a live experiment. Does social media actually work in getting you a date? So, what was the hashtag for tonight?
Desperate Mel. Live streaming.
Hot blonde social media.
Oh, God.
Might get a different side there. But why not use it to solicit as long as it's not to avert unless you're dropped in a hole by somebody on the panel with you?
Do you think that professionally, though, it's kind of frowned upon if there's that boundary, isn't there? It's kind of like how much do you use it for work and how much do you use it socially?
Surely it's like flirting with somebody at an office party. It's still mingling work and pleasure, and whether that's online or offline, it's all the same thing. Social media has got social in it. We're people. It's just a different way of communicating.
I was saying, this is like a whole other talk if you want to look at like the professional and the personal and how those are blurring and the ethics behind it. And probably all of us have a social media policy that we have to adhere to at work. And I pretty much keep my social stuff is my social stuff. I rarely, if I tweet about work, it's usually like we have an opening for a job, but I don't talk about clients. I don't really talk about anything else because, like even today, like I didn't really talk about what I do for my job because I'm here as a person, and I do think that the things I'm talking about today. Believe me, I don't do any of this stuff for my job. This is really just me. So I don't know. I would say if you tweet for work, don't be using it as your place to chat at the opposite sex. Just think about what you're saying and keep it again. Put it someplace else. There's a more appropriate place for it.
And preventing somebody from Googling you. So I've done the whole thing. I've talked to them on the dating site. I've then added them on Facebook. We've then talked on Facebook. I've then given them my email address.
You're crazy.
Yeah. And they've Googled my email address and found my blog. But they haven't told me this until the date. Mm-hmm. So then we're on the blog and I'm talking to them. And they go, oh, you've just pulled that face. You know the one you do in your videos? It's like, no, that's just my face. it's always, it's cringeworthy. So do you then set up a dating email address so that they can't find you?
I don't give them my email address. Well.
What do you give them? No.
But hey. In the online dating context, if I'm passing messages back and forth, like I said earlier, I like to keep it personal. Anyway, like I want to date outside of this, and so a lot of it is like, here's my name. I'm still using like a screen name. I don't have my first name in there whatsoever. But by the time I say I'm Kate, that's all they get. That's all they get until probably the first date. And if it's a good first date, then they get a little bit more from that. Like they might get the last name. Because I know as soon as you type in my first last name, that everything's going to come up. And I don't want them to have like this preconceived notion about, oh, she's this person. Honestly, I think my profile scares the crap out of guys. They're like, you are going to tweet about me. You are going to talk about me. And guess what? Some of you I probably do. But I don't want them to go into it thinking like that. I need them to think like I'm just Kate the girl. Yeah. And they're just Bob the boy. And I don't know who Bob is, but wherever. My Bob. So yeah, I just need him to be Bob the boy because, like I said, I have Googled the one guy, and he said, I'm going to give you my email address, and you go ahead. You see what you can find out about me. I was like, challenge accepted. And I came back to him within 3 minutes and said, right, I know your full name. I know where you work. I know your phone number. I have obviously all your LinkedIn stuff. And by the way, according to Facebook, you're in a relationship. And he wrote back, he goes, I don't have a Facebook. And I said, yeah, you do. Here's the link. And he's like, oh, no, I killed that 6 months ago. And I'm like, yeah, okay, well, have a nice life. No, I mean, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Now, in that case, then maybe it saved me. But if I know all that information up front, again, it's also weirded him out. Yeah. But as it should.
Surely sharing information online, if you don't want somebody to know something, don't share it online, and that goes whether you're dating someone or not. And also, it's a good way of honing your search engine optimization skills. If you don't like what you've got out there, create a page, get it to the top of the rankings, and control the flow of information.
Yeah. So how do you deal with breakups and social media? I've been through it. I dated somebody who was in the field and pick the scab, still look at the Twitter account, still check the Facebook profile page. Like, there should be a service that stops you from doing that. There should be, seriously.
Self-censorship.
Yeah, there is a new bit of research out that suggests that eating glucose increases your willpower, so hit the chocolate.
Okay. Ditch the diet. Okay. So do we have any questions?
We've got one of everything, every experience possible. Oh, we go. Yeah.
There's a mic coming.
Yeah, hi. So the gays have Grindr. What do the straights have?
There's a straight version.
Yeah, we were just talking about it. Yay.
But what I'm more thinking about is actually, do you have any good stories about sort of location-based
girls find that shit
dating
creepy. Sorry.
Oh,
it's an interesting
she says,
trend.
I can actually go. Okay, Cupid. I'm going to plug them for a second because I do adore them and they're free right now. Okay, Cupid has a great mobile app, and part of it they've added a location service to it. So it'll be like guys in my area, and I can look through and I can say, let's meet. I can do a shout out and say like, I'm headed to Angel and I'm going to be around this area if you're in the area, or it may be like, I'm headed to the pub and meet me here, or whatever it is. But I've actually done it where somebody's hit the let's meet and I've been like, you know what? I don't do anything right now. He looks so cute. All right, really? Why not? But the more I think about things, my usual answer is no. If I don't have time to think about it, I just go. So I went, and it was fun, and we had a great time, and I met him up at a pub that was near me, and it was good, and we actually did go on a couple dates, and it was because I didn't really think about it. I just kind of went, and I mean, obviously, if he hadn't been as cute as he was, I probably would have said no, but what'd you say?
Did he actually look like his photo?
He did look like his photo, thank God. His hair was shorter, but that's all right. So that's about as close to location-based stuff. I mean, not to say that when I was talking about the cyber stalking earlier that, you know, if there's somebody you really kind of want to bump into and you kind of check in Foursquare to see if they've checked in anywhere that might be convenient. Yeah, I mean, I check it. It doesn't mean I've done it, but I mean, that's about as close to location-based stuff as I've ever gotten.
There's a few. You can do it with Sonar. Well, Sonar's a bit more like this person has this many Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn connection to you. So, and then
Oh, yeah. yeah.
Or Blender, which is the straight grinder.
But I think also you have to look at the way in which people are using the service. And if people are out there looking for casual sex, location-based services are great. If they're not, then I think you're right. A lot of women would be scared of using the service unless that's what they're looking for.
Who is using online dating? Who's done online dating? Hands up. Come on, we can admit it. Come on.
That's it?
Really?
All right,
Wow.
who knows somebody who has done it? Because apparently 1 in 3 people know somebody who's met their partner or a partner online. Yeah, okay, that's a little bit better. That's a good question.
Sorry. What are we defining as online dating? Are we defining it by using websites or
I was
by using all
referring
the
to it in
social
its
networks?
kind of traditional
Okay.
manner, I guess. But do you know anybody who's met and ended up together through Twitter?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
There's hope. Oh. Question.
Just grab the microphone from her if you want.
I was going to say, actually, I've been with my boyfriend for about a year, and the way that we kind of got together is we met at some party, and then there was a photographer there and whatever, and they took photos, and he came up and spoke to me, but that was as far as it went. And then he found me basically on Facebook through the photographer having taken the photos, and he sent me a message and whatever, and like it's been more than a year, and
That's the kind of story, like, I don't think is at all creepy. I think it's quite cute because
Yeah.
they're looking for you, but
It's not creepy, it's okay.
no, that's that's a good thing, yeah. Oh, we got one behind you.
Awesome.
Hi. I was just wondering if you think that online dating makes us less satisfied in our relationships because there's so much choice and there's endless options and it makes it so accessible.
There has been research out recently that shows people have got increased levels of dissatisfaction because it is that everything, people will compare what they've got with what they could get. And before the internet, what you could get was your partner's best mate, that's not generally done, relatives, same deal, or the people that you've already kind of seen around the place, unless you're going out and socialising in the way that you're more inclined to do when you're single. Now the internet's there, and you're there with your lovely partner, and everybody on the internet. And, as Dave Gorman said in Google Whack Adventure, everything is quite a lot. So suddenly you don't just want your partner that ticks every single box you had before. You can also add in extra money or add in extra knowledge about your field. Whatever you want, there's a niche out there to get it. If you want one-legged juggling lesbians, I'm pretty sure Match.com's got some white label site offering
midgets?
it. Sorry?
Midgets?
Midgets, yeah. Yeah, midgets need love too.
I think with online dating sites, you run the risk of it becoming a bit like a brochure. So you just start flicking through, looking at pictures, and then all of a sudden, whereas you would become friends with somebody years ago, and then you would fall in love with them, you'd get to know them as a person. Now it's just kind of, you're flicking through. That said, anybody who says that it's personality only, you don't walk up to somebody in a bar going, it looks like you have a lovely personality. Not a believer.
Do you not think there's a lot of danger around kind of misconceptions and misinformation that comes with social media? Like, for example, I freelance with kind of a lot of bloggers, a lot of kind of on fashion journalism and stuff. So obviously a lot of my friends are female. But now if you saw my Facebook profile, you'd think I was like a complete
Don't
creep.
try making
And then
excuses.
And then, well, okay, then also, so for example, people could watch kind of your videos and they could watch kind of stuff like this that you've spoken at, and they could kind of formulate a version of themselves that would be your perfect man and like pitch themselves to you. So do you not, like, obviously that would be pretty creepy as well.
Point them this way.
But, so do you not think it's kind of, there's a lot of danger kind of around those misconceptions and misinformation and stuff?
I think you're going to get that whether it's a dating site or a social network. I think with Facebook, I've got a friend, he'll only check himself into Harrods. He won't check in when he's at like Boots. Do you know what I mean? So everything that you put out there as your profile, be that on Twitter, be that on Facebook, or even your profile, your dating profile, is what you want people to think about you. It's not necessarily the real, unless you see somebody and you work with them every day or you hang out with them and they're friends, you're never going to know in my opinion, the true person. What do you think?
Well, isn't it also the case that with real life, has anybody been in the situation where you're out on a date with someone and they play you some music and you go, yeah, I love this band? Or told any other lie, however small, to somebody when you've been on a face-to-face date? The internet didn't invent, said you could ski, or said you love going out and doing action-packed kind of things. You know, people lie in real life as well as online life. It's not like Facebook created lying.
This is more of a general question. I'm not in the industry, but I do talk about sex publicly. Who doesn't? Like on TV. So publicists and things always say, tweet all the time, say where you are, say if you're somewhere interesting. And so I have had very strange encounters when I do say where I am. Like someone dropped off a very strange gift to my gym. So where are the boundaries there? It was a video of him.
Come on.
He was singing. He called himself Ian Sane, and it was a rock video for me. So, but it's strange, right? It's obviously very strange that he came to my gym. No, but he's in like he was pretending to be like in a straitjacket. It was really strange, but.
So how did your date go?
Clearly, as soon as that happened, I switched gyms because it's very strange. Because also, like, a gym is very personal. You're like changing there, right? So where is that boundary where you're letting someone know where you are all the time? I'm not like I don't have a security guard. I'm not, So like, where is that boundary, and are there dangers there?
I'd say for anybody who writes about sex for a living, it is not worth doing Foursquare or anything like that. When I founded Clitorati, we got regular emails through saying things like, I'm going to come round and gang rape you and the sluts who created this website. You clearly all want it. And unfortunately, there are nutters out there. If you've got any degree of public persona, and actually, even if you don't write about sex, if you've got anything that could be considered a fan base, don't put the information out there unless you want someone to find you. But also, do you really need everybody to know where you are all the time?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just like when you hire a publicist, the first thing they're going to teach you is like, tweet where you are, tweet where you're going, like, be really present.
That's the same kind of publicist who's going to say to you, all publicity is good publicity, and I don't think that's true anymore.
But to me, I'm thinking they're meaning more like you go to, like, Mahiki or something. Like if you're sweating in your gym, to me that's your personal time. That's not. It's not on time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's not like I was like I'm in the gym now. It's like once I tweeted, oh, I go to this. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like it was just they knew that I do go there, so they showed up. So it's not like
wanted to get something. I don't know. I mean, you hear about people who are like bands who are desperate to get the demos in the hands of somebody, so that they would do that kind of stuff. So, either well done to you for having, somebody who's like really wants you to have their important video. But there's just like trying to find those boundaries within kind of this new world that we're creating. Well, I think your boundaries are fine. His boundaries are a little different. I think
and
that's.
I mean, so I've had something similar. People know where I work, and I had someone turn up in reception. I had the receptionist call me, going, "There's a guy down here waiting for you," and I'm like, "Don't know who he is." But it's one of those things. I have a video blog. I'm on Twitter. I guess it's the whole. And this is going to sound really crappy, but with the whole celebrities and paparazzi thing, do you know what I mean? It's kind of like if you put it out there, you have to kind of expect some repercussions of what you do. Yeah. And I'm grateful for the fact that people watch my videos, so if I get some weird stuff come out of that, then it's just kind of part of the course.
Right. But never eat any food that anybody leaves for you.
Or medication.
Just going back to the when you asked the question, and it did seem the audience might have been actually lying, because it does look like the audience is quite young. For those
that are singles, are you saying they look like singles, spinsters?
Yeah,
are you?
Well, I must be. I'm sort of showing my age a little bit now, but I'm kind of just before the sort of the social media time, and what's the kind of demographics as well of kind of for those older people, and what sort of media are they actually using?
I'm sorry, what was the end of it?
So the demographics of people, I used to work in marketing for an online dating company, and actually in terms of our demographic there, it was older. I mean, I think social media is kind of, for me, it's the younger people that go, I'm not that desperate that I need to pay for a dating site yet. That's kind of, whereas once you get to my age and you go, I'd quite like to meet someone now and I'm prepared to pay for it. So it tends to be kind of 30 upwards. Yeah. Do you have any stats around that?
No, I was going to say, I know within one of the links on here, it did talk about the stats of it, but obviously it's not in my slides. But
and there are also niche sites. I'm looking over on gilf.com. I'm just saying. There really are. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Adult Friend Finder is the biggest of these sites. Not that any of you here would be remotely interested, of course. And I think, again, that is a slightly older demographic. But generally, because it takes people until they're in their mid-20s, early 30s to admit that they're into, I'm not going to list all of the wide array of things that are available. Okay, bondage, power play, water sports, sploshing. I could continue, but I'll probably say something very rude by mistake. So I shall stop there.
I'm Googling that stuff. Awesome. Okay, any more questions?
What?
Oh, sorry, there's a lot of comments. Questions.
Oh, there are questions from out in the greater world?
I mean, some of them are about just... All right, there's some of the questions in the comments are about, do you, I guess maybe I could answer, but I'm not on the panel. They're asking, do you think that men think as much as women about these things? It seems like, and also, like, what about creepy women doing creepy things for men who are tracking them on Foursquare? Women are warned about Foursquare and not sharing and not telling people where they are. I'm sure there are women who've done creepy things, and there are men who also, I don't think, overthink things as much as women do. So what do you think about that?
Aren't you just talking about the standard gender divide?
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, it's just in dating and in using all the information that's out there and in getting really sort of OCD about checking everything and making sure they're okay and protecting themselves. And what do you think?
There's very much a culture where women are encouraged to look at themselves as victims, hence having things like the slut walk and stuff like that still having some kind of an impact. So part of it's led by that. Part of it is, pick up a woman's magazine and the man's magazine, look at the amount of pages devoted to relationships. Women are way more interested in relationships, at least in that public kind of way, than men are. Men are a lot less likely to want to read a load of articles about 50 ways to make yourself look great for your date tonight. And yes, there certainly are scary women out there. Quite a lot of my boy mates who do online dating bemoan the fact that they have the cat moving in on date 2, or somebody who has cyber stalked them to within an inch of their life. So yes, no gender. There are nutters of every kind of gender, sexuality, and all of that.
So one of the questions is whether anybody's ever used Badoo and what they think of it.
Yeah, Badoo's sort of like Blender as well. It's a location-based service. It's actually quite a big online dating platform. They're based here in London, and they're growing. So it's maybe none of you in the room have used it, but it is quite big.
While the panel is pretty fabulous, I must say, I think it's a shame there aren't any men, because it's giving kind of a skewed view to what goes on in the female mind, So I just want to put that caveat out there right now. Thank you.
Yep. Fair enough.
Hi, quick question about the whole having an online presence, having an online profile, but then being different in real life. I think with social, it's very easy to not know what people know about you or not. But equally, like, you're only putting out a part of you, right? And especially when you're kind of going into relationships or dating, like, ideally you're wanting to be yourself rather than what you've portrayed, for whether it be work or, for a bit of fun with friends. I'm just wondering, how much do you guys put value in the actual real person interactions versus like all the online social stuff that kind of, it's out there, but it's not necessarily who they really are, it's who they want to be seen as. And do you even take that into account when you're looking at people and kind of considering those options?
If you look at online marketing in general, it's all about integrity nowadays. Actually have a product that is worth selling. I'd say same thing with online dating. If you're putting out personas that are only a little bit of you, why are you ashamed of the rest of yourself? Okay, I'm not saying you have to put extreme detail about your personal life, but if your profiles don't match up to who you are, then that's kind of doing a bit of a shoddy job when it comes to finding somebody that's actually going to like you.
So, sorry, just to clarify, I'm not talking about putting out parts of you. I'm just saying, as people, we're a lot more complex than just what can be captured in a digital format. And so you can't communicate that whole complexity of a person in the same way that you can when you're in person with someone.
Absolutely. The face-to-face experience is essential, although there are now dating websites out there actually looking at the chemical effects. So you can submit your blood and you can get a pheromonal match, which apparently replicates the offline experience. I'm a little skeptical, even though I believe massively in the whole chemistry of attraction. That's still only a little bit of it. I don't think we've quite got love down to an algorithm quite yet.
Just quickly, there's a good article, and okay, I'm going to do a blog plug real fast just because my master's, like I said, was about the trust in the online and offline spaces, so you can find it through my website, but it's Trust 2.0, and it's a posterous site. But Chris Poole, 4chan, yes, no, something like that. Yeah, he did this talk recently, and he was like, you know, we like to say it's all black and white, but it's not. And I try to remember how he says, like, we're multifaceted. You know, it's one of those. You can't, like my picture earlier where it says, like, you know, a picture is a useful model of reality, but it's not, there's no way. I mean, like, and I'm not just talking about the way I look, you know, today my hair is straight, tomorrow it's going to be curly, and how do you feel about that? I'm having a good day, I'm having a bad day, but when I walk into a room, you expect me to be Kate the girl from Twitter, where I'm always on, you know, and I'm an introvert. I'd rather sit in a corner and watch you people. The fact that I'm sitting up here at all scares the crap out of me. And you know, so what you're saying to me, like, I get it. Like, there isn't any way, and it's how well do you know the person? How well do you know your parents? How well do you know your husband or wife or your best friend even? Not, you know, there's no way you are ever going to know that person 100%, regardless of whether they're online. You know, you're only catching little snapshots of people all the time. So I don't know. It doesn't necessarily answer your question. It's just that there isn't a way to answer it. You know, people are people.
Yeah, I was just going to query the point earlier that was about, you know, you're misrepresenting yourself, maybe the insinuation that people would misrepresent themselves on social networking sites if you haven't declared this or this or this. But A, what about your right to privacy? You know, you might not want people to know things straight up. And also, don't we do that in real life? Me here is not the same me at the football. It's not the same me at home with my mum. You know, social media is just surely reflecting how we are as human beings, rather than it being about misrepresentation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's a question. I think that's a good statement.
Yeah, no.
Right behind. Oops. Fran, right behind. Oh, never mind.
We've talked quite a lot about the issues of privacy and trust between different people on dating sites and on social media. But what do you think are the issues of privacy and trust with the sites themselves? So what makes you trust one site not to misuse your data over another? And kind of further to that, what makes you choose or go for one site over another or one medium over another? Because it seems like there are so many out there, you know, your Match.com, et cetera, et cetera. And there are so many trust issues surrounding them that it's a bit of a mess, really.
I think there's a whole educational piece to be done, and I think the fact that the dating industry isn't regulated as heavily as it probably should be is an issue that needs to be looked at. I used to work for a white label dating company who ran multiple dating sites, and so you would join as a member and your profile would appear on multiple dating sites.
Now, I'm tech savvy. I know that if I join up to a site, that I'm going to have exposure to multiple sites, and that, I guess, increased opportunity, or at least that's how it's sold to members. But not everybody is aware of that. And similarly, I tried Guardian Soulmates and didn't tick, which was my own fault to not appear on the homepage of Guardian. Got an email from somebody, that was interesting. So I think there really is an educational piece for consumers to understand, and I think it actually needs to be made clearer to members joining dating sites exactly where their profiles are going to be shown and where their information is going to be shared. And I don't think that necessarily happens with all sites at the moment. And in terms of which dating site, are you looking for a recommendation? It really depends. I mean, something like Match it's fairly generic, it's nationwide. Something kind of London-centric, then something like Lovestruck is much better. But it really depends on the demographic, whether you're looking for a friend's recommendation and whether you're looking for love or a hookup.
Thanks. One of the things, and you touched on it briefly there, is that interests me is the collision between the professional and the personal with all of this data out there. I'm just wondering whether or not professionally you've ever been compromised by some of the information that you have shared from a dating perspective or any other personal perspective.
I guess I'm quite lucky in that I've done magazine features where I've done sploshing, going to orgies, and spent a day as a dominatrix. So anything I've done in my personal life, if anything, my professional life has compromised my personal life with people thinking I'm a lot filthier than I really am.
I work in a very large PR agency, and I'm pretty, I mean, for the people I work with, they know what I'm up to. But again, it's one of those, like I said, for me, like what I talk about professionally and what I talk about personally I kind of try to keep them as separate as possible.
But if I went to Google you now, I would probably find some stuff about you that perhaps as a future employer you wouldn't want me to see.
Fair enough. Although I Google myself on a regular basis. It's like a health check. But I'm pretty open about what I talk about or what I do, or But again, this is like I could tell 100 different people my story. I'm telling 100 of you at like one time about my stories, and it was a concern. I mean, I even talked to like the corp comms people and said, look, I'm going to go in there and I've been asked to do this, and I can say that I work for you or not work for you. And they basically said, you know what, go for it. And I still chose not to, because in the end, this is still Kate, like I said, the individual, not the digital strategist who works for the agency. So for me, I like the separation, but I also, I do have concern, but I have less concern about what you're going to find on me than I am about like friends and my former students who are now 18 going into college, and I'm like, someday they're going to be their pictures are going to be the norm. We're going to elect a president on who has the least embarrassing photo, So, I mean, that's what I worry about.
And I think it also depends on whether you want to work for a company like that. So for me, it's just important that I work for a company I feel comfortable, and that my kind of ethos and everything that I believe in reflects their brand, as much as it is that I actually fit in with them. That said, I mean, I used to work at Urban Animations, and on the way to the interview, I tweeted saying it was amazing that I could work from home in my underwear. And then went to the interview and they were like, it's great that you've got some clothes on. Because I didn't think about the fact that potential employers could look at. I got the job, it was fine. But I mean, it really is one of those things. I mean, I'm doing my job now because I was a blogger, and they appreciate that, and they know there will be some things that will be slightly off-brand, but ultimately the benefit that I bring to the agency is bigger than. I would never do something stupid that would kind of harm one of the brands that we work for, so.
So I write for The Kernel, which has kind of had a lot of pieces about Luluvies in. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the site, but it's a site where women can rate their exes. and invite people to their inner circle to kind of view reviews of their exes, which is kind of based on how much money he's willing to spend on women, how good his sexual performance is, and kind of things like that. And,
Robert Locke keeps tweeting about that all the time.
Yeah. So I mean, and so far I've kind of mostly only heard the opinions of straight and gay men. I was just kind of interested to see what some women thought about it.
I have to admit, if one of my friends told me they were uploading stuff onto that site, I'd tell them to come down the pub and get a life. I think life is too short to sit around rating your exes, because if you really want to put that much time and thought into them, you're not over them.
Yeah, not worth my time. Not the question, my ex. Well,
there's been some controversy recently about the algorithms used by dating sites to match people up. How much faith do you put in those algorithms? Obviously, it's site dependent, but...
My personal opinion is, I look at, okay, so again, OkCupid will have like the various percentages or whatever. I look at that and I go, okay, that's nice.
But you look at the picture.
But then I look at the picture. Exactly. I mean, it still comes down to simple, like, attraction. Yeah, I look at some of the basic stats. I actually have on there, if you're not 5'10", I'm really not interested, and maybe that's mean, but it's like, I want to wear heels and I need you to be taller than I am. And I'll have guys who, if you can't read to the bottom, I'm going to more filter you out on that than what the percentages say.
And spelling. Like, not just guys, girls and guys. Like, make sure your profile's spelled properly. It's really upsetting.
And not mentioning having a nice bottle of red wine and curling up watching DVDs, because that's what 90% of people do.
In
front of the log fire.
Yeah, log fire as standard.
But I mean, the question's a good one, because then you're reading, The Guardian produced an article, it was online I think a couple days ago, but it's in the insert today about love in the digital world, and it talks about a lot of the numbers and some of the history of it. And honestly, I looked at it, I kind of skimmed it before I came in, and I was like, okay, but there's no way I can keep that much information in my head. But it is fascinating to hear how many different people, like Stanford, Harvard, or whatever, who all came up with these different like ways to match people based on whatever they think works. But the thing about, again, like using OkCupid, you go through all these questions, and it's something like 6,000 questions, and if you could do them all, or then you'd have the highest whatever percentage matches or whatever. But I mean, when you think about it, going back to the question you had earlier, which is, if you go to my profile and you can read through my questions that are public, and you can know all sorts of kinky stuff about me, and I had I know, right? And I had another social media type person say to me, I can't believe you would let those be public. And I went, I don't answer questions I wouldn't answer you in real life. So I do censor what I say, and some of them I keep private that I've answered, but I kind of like, you know what? I mean, some things are kind of big deal breakers, so why not answer the question and know how you match up against that person, because it's there. But that's how they calculate it. I think.
Do you ladies have any experience of one-to-one matchmaking services? That's the one thing I guess we haven't spoken about.
I certainly have lots of experiences of one-to-one matchmaking, because working in the job that I do, everybody asks me to hook them up, and I gave it up after I had the first marriage because it was way too much like control. But I was going to say, in defense of the algorithms, if you look at people matchmaking, even, how many people here have been set up on a date by a friend? How many of those people actually got it right? Okay, so that's not that many out of it. If somebody who's grown up with you or who's known you for years can't work out the algorithm that's going to get you a partner, the likelihood that somebody you've never met before through using a computer is going to do it is pretty slim. Like it or not, love is complex.
Maybe a good way to end.
Absolutely. Okay, so unless there are any more questions? No? Nope.
Perfect.
Cool. Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for being a great audience. And thanks for the cupcakes.